Ancient yogis and Buddhist monks have consistently highlighted the importance of one concept: observation. To truly observe something, we must focus our attention on it. When we apply our attention correctly, we can bring about a desired quantum event in our lives. In this video, I'll discuss how you can harness your attention to shape the reality you desire. Because learning to channel your attention is the most powerful tool you have as a co-creator of reality. Let's dive in. To comprehend how our attention shapes the version of reality that materializes, we first need to understand how energy flows. Whenever you feel stuck, like you're striving for something that never happens, or when similar situations repeatedly occur, like attracting the same kind of relationships, it's crucial to identify where energy becomes stagnant. Energy needs to flow. When it doesn't, it stagnates, leading to repeated circumstances. So what influences the flow of energy? Attention does. Energy follows where attention is directed. Our focus determines where energy flows. What many people don't realize is that our attention consists of two primary types: polar and non-polar attention. Polar attention has the ability to both attract and repel aspects of reality. When viewed differently, any problem can become a solution. Two sides of the same coin, and that's precisely what polar attention does. It draws in certain things while pushing others away. Let's delve deeper into this concept. Besides polar attention, there is non-polar attention, which remains completely neutral and has the capability to dissolve aspects of reality. Regarding the manifestation of quantum events in our lives, let's consider what this entails. Imagine two forms of polar attention: positive and negative. When we focus positively on something, life isn't concerned with the nature of our attention, but rather with its content. As I mentioned in a previous video, if we harbor hatred towards something, we'll attract more related events. Conversely, if we love something, we'll draw more of what we cherish into our lives. Here's the essence of the issue. Throughout our lives, we humans have been conditioned to operate from a place of fear and survival, as this has become ingrained in our biology. Our primary instinct is to survive, and the most effective way to ensure survival is by eliminating or avoiding any threats. Consequently, we've been trained to function in a protective mode, steering clear of conflict and risk. Many of us have been molded in this manner. Due to this conditioning, we continue to encounter more situations that cause us anxiety. Consider what you see on the news or social media. There's a greater dissemination of fear than anything else. This is how external influences can manipulate and sway us. There are numerous individuals who are willing to go to war to defend something they cherish and take pride in. Although this can be commendable, it often blinds them to the reality of the situation, as it's easy to direct someone's actions when they're angry or scared. Fear, anger, and pride are emotional states that society uses to keep us trapped, focusing our attention on things that lead us to act contrary to our true desires. Many people find themselves repeatedly experiencing similar types of relationships because they hold on to past traumas. Their focus remains on avoiding past relationship patterns, which ironically leads them to attract the same types of partners and relationships. Most individuals are haunted by traumatic events and worry that they haven't processed them properly. This is where neutral or non-polar attention becomes relevant, but we'll delve into that later. For now, it's important to understand that there are two kinds of attention: positive and negative. Life is primarily concerned with where our attention lies, what we focus on most intently. If we find ourselves in a situation where we're at a crossroads in life, perhaps dealing with a challenge at work involving a colleague or another issue, we have a choice in how we perceive it. By choosing to view the situation positively, seeing it as an opportunity for growth, we can overcome the obstacle and become stronger. This positive outlook attracts energy and reality that mirror our attitude. Conversely, if we view the same situation negatively, thinking it's disastrous and insurmountable, we'll draw in energy that reflects this negative mindset. It's crucial to realize that life doesn't differentiate between positive or negative attention. It simply responds to what we focus on. In other words, if we believe the situation will help us grow, our life path shifts towards more positive outcomes, manifesting more of what we feel good about. On the flip side, if we dwell on negativity and see things as bad, negative events are likely to follow. Notice what's happening. When our perspective is positive, our mind interprets it as such. When it's negative, our mind sees it negatively. How do you know a situation is bad? Often it's an assumption driven by fear. Fear breeds more fear. When we experience an emotion, we tend to justify it by thinking of other factors that could amplify that fear. But why do we do this? As feeling beings, emotions make us feel alive and help us survive. It's part of our biological makeup. When we're afraid, we start listing potential problems, leading to a downward spiral where negative focus begins to dominate our attention. The core issue at hand is the need for alignment between the heart and the mind. When your heart experiences negativity, your mind quickly begins producing negative thoughts, which then manifest into reality. This shifts you onto a life path where more negative events occur. However, the key element here is maintaining non-polar neutral attention. By viewing events in our lives with this neutral perspective, they simply pass through without affecting us. For instance, in an unpleasant situation, you can observe and accept it without attaching positive or negative feelings to it. This way, you remain on your current life path without any real change. The situation just fades away. Many people confront their past traumas and fears by focusing on them negatively. Consider how this unfolds. When something unpleasant happens in the past, we often try to escape because of the overwhelming emotions and lack of coping mechanisms. In doing so, we resist. And what happens when you resist something? It persists. By resisting, you empower it, and it pushes back against you. We spend our entire lives resisting unwanted past events and living from a place of trauma. Consequently, situations that reinforce this trauma continue to arise. Remember, every coin has two sides. How you choose to perceive something is entirely up to you. With this understanding in mind, let's discuss how to effectively use this knowledge to shape reality. The first step is combining polar and non-polar attention. This is essential, so listen closely. There are 3 primary steps to applying this concept, and by following them, all the energy you've been using on negative attention will dissipate, freeing up energy to nourish the positive version of reality you wish to create. Let's explore how this process works. The initial step is embracing the situation. When we find ourselves in what seems like a pit, feeling as though we've hit rock bottom, it's crucial to acknowledge that this is our reality. Acceptance and resistance cannot coexist. You can't resist something while also accepting it. Acceptance serves as the remedy for resistance. It's important to grasp this concept. We're not gathering energy. The energy we have is merely being used to steer clear of obstacles. Your aspirations are eager to materialize. You're simply hindering them. You just need to step aside for them to become reality. We begin with complete acceptance of our current circumstances. Whatever issues you're facing, whatever feels like an impasse, or even your worst fears, imagine they've already occurred. You're fully on board with their occurrence and observe how life continues despite them. You're no longer consumed by worry about your worst fears. They no longer haunt you. This understanding is crucial because many people worry that by accepting the worst-case scenario, they'll somehow invite it into their lives. That's not true. In fact, accepting the worst-case scenario stops feeding it with the energy of resistance. If you keep resisting, you continue nourishing it, increasing its chances of happening. By accepting and stepping aside, you allow neutral attention to take over. Acceptance equates to neutral attention. To initiate change in any aspect of our lives, we must start with full acceptance. Complete and total acceptance of the present moment as it is. We can't alter the present moment, regardless of how much effort we put in, because it's always in flux. Once you try to seize it, it's already slipped into the past. Changing this moment is impossible. However, what lies within your control is choosing what you'd like for the next moment. We often deceive ourselves into thinking that if something occurs, we've failed because we become attached and identify with our actions. Visualize the worst-case scenario and embrace it entirely. Doing so diminishes its significance completely. The second step involves recognizing how this setback or unfavorable event might actually turn out to be a hidden blessing. Every event that occurs is neutral by nature, and it is our perspective that labels it as positive, negative, or neutral. Instead of viewing it as something negative, consider how it might serve as an advantage. How could this situation be beneficial in your life right now? What do I mean by a blessing in disguise? Sometimes events occur to shield us from harm. Perhaps there's something negative in the situation that a higher power or the universe is keeping us from experiencing. Maybe there's a reason behind its occurrence. Have you ever considered that, like any event in your life, this might be happening for a reason? If you hadn't missed that bus, perhaps it would have been involved in an accident and the universe is working to protect you. How can you know for sure? This approach becomes easier once you've reached a state of acceptance. If you're still dealing with fresh wounds from a recent negative event, don't pressure yourself to immediately find hidden blessings. Focus on reaching acceptance first and acknowledge that it truly happened. Once you're in a more neutral state, you can begin to explore how this might eventually be seen as positive. The final step is to consistently redirect our focus toward what we desire. When I'm in a state of complete equanimity and acceptance, my attention is freed up to fully choose what I want to focus on. Mastering this skill will make you unstoppable. Nothing will be able to hold you back. This process influences which life path you take. which quantum events manifest, and what experiences unfold in your life, all of which are tied to where you direct your attention. There's a reason why many ancient cultures and religions emphasize the importance of attention, observing and being mindful of what we focus on. Here, we combine both, using non-polarized attention followed by acceptance, acknowledging that events are neither good nor bad, but simply happened, and then contemplating possible blessings in disguise before ultimately shifting into a positive mindset when we reach equanimity. This method is among the most effective tools we have for shaping the reality we wish to experience. As a co-creator of your reality, your attention is the most potent tool at your disposal. By mastering the art of directing it properly, you can bring about the life you desire. The key takeaway I want to leave you with today is that if you're feeling down about yourself, allow yourself to acknowledge those feelings. Once you reach a state of equilibrium, shift your focus to what you truly want. However, if you attempt to conceal or suppress your emotions, they will resurface later. In such cases, whatever actions you take might be a form of resistance. Even when reciting positive affirmations in front of a mirror, you might actually be resisting an emotion by doing so. Consistently applying this three-step approach can fundamentally transform your life. By learning to accept, redirect, and choose what you desire, you free up energy previously spent on resistance. You're utilizing your attention effectively to craft the reality you seek. Remember, acceptance doesn't mean surrendering to defeat, but rather acknowledging the present situation. It's within this acceptance that our vision becomes clearer and the path to our desires emerges. When we confront the worst-case scenario head-on, we release energy that was previously used in opposition, allowing our focus to become a catalyst for change. We then shift our attention toward our goals, prompting reality to adapt accordingly. As co-creators of our own realities, we possess the power to select our paths, mold our experiences, and define our destinies. True transformation begins when we choose to focus on what truly matters in our lives. Proceed with assurance and intent, because you are the designer of your own future. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this video resonated with you, please like and subscribe to our channel. Share this message with others who might benefit from it, and feel free to leave a comment below with your thoughts, reflections, and experiences. Thank you once again for watching and being part of this experience. Take care and see you next time.